Good morning, good evening, good night, Web3. What is going on? We are bringing you another edition of NFT Live. We're on this new crazy thing that we decided to do, which is do this shit daily. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I've got a fantastic group of co-hosts with me who are going to tackle the news from this past week, what's upcoming, and all that jazz. We're just going to have a fun time. Thank you guys for joining here today with us. Around the square table we go. Ronan the Collector, my man, with the new setup. How you doing?
Good, dude. How about you? How are you doing, Q? We don't ever ask you how you're doing. How's Q doing?
It's the curse of the host, man. I get left behind while I highlight you guys on the screen. No, I'm doing fantastic, man. I have a fun time doing this with y'all every day, man. I'm glad we moved to this segment. Wednesdays are my favorite, though, dude. I appreciate seeing your face and getting to connect with you for years now. It's been a bit of it.
2 years. That's a long time, brother. But I love
That's his way of saying he's already sick of me, Ronan.
True. I appreciate the Wednesday episodes. Me and Gif are always getting into it on the other days. So, yeah, Ronan, it's nice to see you, man.
It's always good to see you guys, man. It's been a good week, as always, in the space. Some interesting stuff going on, I think. And for me personally, not too much, just kind of like taking it easy, honestly. Taking a little break from social media for the most part, like not like anything crazy, but just like, turn it down, turn off the notifications for a little while and focus on some other stuff in life. So, yeah, that's been what's been going on with me. What about you guys?
Emotional support mice in the back. Yeah. Shout out.
My emotional support mice.
Love it. Gif, what's going on, man?
I'm just loving being here with y'all, especially Ronan, of course. We got Biggie Poppins in the building. And today is the last day for this epic, huge Oni Force giveaway. So we have to remind people because the winner is going to be selected tomorrow. So if you are not in on this Oni Force NFT prize package giveaway, there it is. Right there, that Oni with its frame, 2 valuable NFTs. We're giving that away to one lucky person, and today is the last day to get in on this. So if you haven't, make sure to head over to the Web3 Twitter, find that tweet, get in on it. It's also on our new website, w3b3.life. Web3.life, you can get in on it there. And also, very excited that on the back of this envelope, not showing it yet, on the back of this envelope, is a secret password for a Z Hovac DBs giveaway that we're doing on NFT Live today. So this is a new thing. We're doing more giveaways on NFT Live.
Jeez.
So look out for that. I'm not going to reveal it just yet, but at some point here and on the show, we're going to reveal that secret password.
Órale, Biggie Poppins, what's up? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, todo bien, chilling. Dude, I'm just like coming off of like the Web3 show, man. How fucking cool was that? I mean, honestly, like I couldn't believe it. Like the whole time I was like, are we really talking about Cardano NFTs intelligently, peacefully, like normal people? I'm so pumped. I actually want to go explore that. Yeah. Like I think like that's even worthy of like a battle of the Cardano NFTs show in itself.
Maybe I don't know about normal people. That's giving us a lot of credit there, but yeah.
All right, well, we're going to get started. We're going to have a great conversation. Biggie, one thing I want to point out really quick, Restream does this weird-ass shit with the default setting on your camera. So if you want to go to your settings, maybe we can get a nicer quality video there for you so that Jacob could then do his magic with your quotes of the day. But if not, we are getting started here on NFT Live, guys. If you're not there you go. Look at that.
Looking good.
All this time, and I'm like pixelated and shit. Look at this. Oh, dude. Yeah, I see the clips and I cringe, man. You guys come up all fucking clean, and I'm like, I need a new camera, man. Like what I need like what Ronan's rocking over here. I'm just waiting for Black Friday, dude. I'm gonna get in on that action, dude. I need my mic.
Oh yeah, gifts. Yeah.
Gift's the one who's looking good, man. I need to get on that level, man. You got DSLR set up over there?
Of course.
Yeah, I know.
You think you can get this kind of color, fidelity with a freaking webcam, bro?
Dude, I'm so over this webcam.
Yo, for those of you at home that are watching, appreciate you guys. First of all, Twitch, we just launched on Twitch, so we're YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter now. So wherever you are watching NFT Live, we appreciate you. This is also kind of like the banter that we get pre-show. So now we have that awesome 10-minute timer, so no one gets to talk pre-show. We just go directly into it. This is the stuff you get. So you're getting behind the scenes a little bit, although we're up on stage now. Virtua, EOS Watchdogs, Prodigy, Dikenzas, Asmodai, Mr. E, Space Smells Like, Hash Rhymes, Chromar, Deep. I mean, you guys are absolutely lighting up the chat today. Blake and Chad's Collect and Connect. Guys, we are headed off here today. Just a quick look at what we're talking about today. We got some quick hits, some news that just dropped that we'll get into relatively quickly here. But we got Cardano NFTs. So GM Web3 Morning Show, Gifted hosts that Monday through Thursday with a wonderful panel. They talked about Cardano NFTs. And to Biggie's point, there were a lot of Cardano supporters that hopped in and were like really on it with the information, really on it with the support. It was a fantastic room. So we're going to touch on
chilly. Right? It was like cool, like really intelligent conversation, knowledgeable people. I was blown away. I kept like having to like shut my mouth because I just wanted to like make a fucking Charles Hutchinson joke or something, but it was good. Like I'm gonna go down that.
I think Charles. Yeah, I think he must be listening, or somebody out there must be listening, because Q, you and I were talking about how it's weird that Cardano is still a top 10 chain by market cap, but there's nothing happening over there that we know about. And then, a day or two later, all of a sudden, Cardano NFTs are on the headline, volume's picking up, and it's like it's a thing all of a sudden. So I don't know, maybe somebody's listening to us, man.
Listen, we're moving markets here with this new transition to Web3. So definitely want to touch on Cardano, of course, to see if Hoskinson's paying attention. We'll like drop a couple info to see if it pops up. But we're also going to touch on Optimism. So we got some other interoperability stuff to touch on. We have home buying in NFTs. Real estate NFTs have been like on and off since the time of STOs, which is still yet to come to fruition. But we're going to touch on real estate NFTs because it looks like a home was sold here on chain in South Carolina. So we'll touch on that. And then we're going to get into, and I have to make sure I pull up my screen here. Fellas, are we ready? Are we ready?
Is this happening?
I need to cue some music or something, dude. I don't have a soundboard.
It's gonna get heated up in here.
It's always a fun one.
Love it.
Shout out Virtua in the chat here, following us over from GM Web3 on Twitter. That's what's up. We got one of our new Cardano friends hanging out with us. So
man, I saw a lot of new names in chat.
Hell yeah. They're looking out for that password, bro. They're trying to get that Z-Hovac NFT.
Yeah.
So Cardano, not Cardano, please, Q. So the vernacular needs to be handled before we get started here in that topic. But the first topic, I want to throw this to Ronan. Ronan, this just dropped from Bored Ape Yacht Club from the Twitter profile. Do you like this merch? Do you like what just came out from BAYC? Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, so I saw some of that at they had that previewed at Ape Fest, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's pretty, it's cool. Like, I think that the more that they do the like messing with the style and mixing it up and like different types of merch when they do these drops, the better. This obviously being like a collab with, what is it? Macbeth or something. Yeah, Macbeth. So I think it's, it looks like there's two options. There's two capsules. It's like a large capsule and a small capsule. The large one comes with that denim jacket. That's pretty fire. I'll probably pick up like the small capsule. I can't really rock a denim jacket, man. I can see GIF rocking some denim, but I'm not rocking no fucking denim jacket.
I don't know. To me, this shit is mids. It's mids at best. Just being real, keeping it real.
Launching black colored merch. Any other color.
What's wrong with black and white colored merch, bro?
We have enough.
Yeah, bro.
Nice, man.
Come on, bro.
What?
I agree. We need some color.
Thank you.
Some color. I'm gonna take a picture of my dude. I got 3 stacks of 8 hoodies high, and they're all black, and they're fucking. It's like one colored one in there that came from something somebody gave me at NFT NYC.
I collected more black hoodies in the last year than in the rest of my life combined. That's fact.
It's
Yo,
ridiculous.
one of the complaints that you get from Bored Ape merch as well, which I think I could pull up on the screen, but anyways, they're changing the quality. They're literally saying like this won't be the same as the Bored Ape or BAYC Fest 2022 quality, I guess. So it's going to be like 100% cotton or whatever the hell that merch people do. I don't can you tell I've never launched merch?
Yeah, clearly not a fashion expert over here, but
I don't claim to be here. I don't claim to be.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've been. I'm not gonna jump around, but I'll stick on Bored Ape. We had some SEC talk here, obviously over the past week. I'm gonna just drop it in the chat here because I don't want to jump down a rabbit hole. But if you want to check out what lawyers have to say about BAYC and the ongoing SEC investigation, give it a look. There were some comments from like notable lawyers. I think some were anon as well, as they tend to do. The other thing that I wanted to pull up as far as BAYC is concerned is this link, actually. So I got the links back to back mixed up. I'm going to drop both. But they were on a podcast, the Yuga Labs founders, Gordon, and I don't know why I'm blanking on the last guy's name. Do you know, Ronan?
Gordon and Garga?
Garga, yeah. So both of them were on a podcast recently with Decrypt. So that was a good podcast. They went into a bunch of things. I took a little bit of notes, but I'll let you kind of go into it. They talked about enforcing digital IP, what companies kind of influenced them as they were creating, how they're scaling out the team. I think 100 by Q1 2023 was mentioned. They do have Punk's teams. They do have a Meebits team. So they are working on some of that IP for those of you that are interested. That was
that's
a good
big
podcast.
news. Yeah, that's big news. That's huge. You know, if you're wondering what they're going to be doing with all these IP that they've been acquiring, they are doing things with it. They're developing. That's awesome.
Yeah, give that a look real quick. I'm going to jump into the last quick hit here for today. We've been following this story for what feels like the last 2 weeks. It's almost like up there with the royalty discussion, which is the Decentraland issue. We've been covering this literally on and off for 2 weeks straight. Well, DappRadar finally has this like final say here after all this nonsense that came out that they had 50 users, and then Decentraland came out and said they have 50,000 users in a month. So this is final from DappRadar, and this says they have 650. This is official, 650 daily active users. Any thoughts on DappRadar coming out and saying with definition that it's 650?
Yo, I mean, this is an admission that their initial report was fucking bogus, is what this is. So if y'all recall, they published that their daily active users was like 30, 35 or something like that, which isn't even close to 650. So to me, this is just like, DappRadar, what the fuck are you doing? You're again, my cynical take on this is that they might be publishing controversial data on purpose to get more people talking about them, because there's several other stories like this from the same DappRadar report that have just really, really low or like ridiculous data points that are getting headlines. Like I think Steppen was the other one maybe that we were talking about. So I don't know. If I'm being really cynical, I'm like, DappRadar is just milking fucking news here and not actually. Yeah, it's like, this is if you're trying to create a high quality report and do serious analysis, well, I don't know. This is just an admission that they don't know what they're doing to me.
Ronan, Biggie, got anything there?
Dude, such a tired fucking subject, man. You know, I mean, between media and these people trying to manipulate data, I mean, it's do your research. And if you're going to publish something, like put the footnotes in there, you know, like it doesn't cost anything. You know, I'd rather answer that friend's comment that he put right now, that whether this is a Cardano specific NFT live stream, man. We're agnostic here, but yeah, we're like, we're putting a spotlight on Cardano today, and we've been very pleasantly surprised. It's super cool.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about some of the findings, some of the Cardano 101 things from the show this morning. But on the other side of the coin, at least good for them for trying to make amends or correct it. I just think it seems like really sloppy work at best, and at worst, it's like a really cynical way to be getting headlines.
I think at this point, if it continues, I would agree with you, Gif. Like this, I feel like got picked up by like a CoinDesk article or some other pieces where they're. If the operator, if you don't know, people are looking at your metrics by this point. Like now you know, because and if it continues, definitely on Gif Dead's train of saying maybe they're putting this out for the marketing pieces as well. Yo, last quick hit that I have for everybody. We talk about onboarding a lot here on NFT Live. It's a little bit of a boring subject, but it is important for kind of the growth of the space, of course. This was a huge article, in my opinion. Reddit users created 3 million crypto wallets to scoop up the NFTs on that platform, which are on the Polygon network. Yo, this is a great example, and I want to have any takes here on Reddit. We know that they've been very Web3 focused, with Alexis Ohanian being a part of that group and that team. Pushing Web3 on that platform with the different tokens and coins and things. But 3 million people getting adoption on Polygon. Some of those might be, again, native to the space, but a lot of those people probably, that was the first time they ever fucking touched a wallet. So I want to get your guys' take on this.
And they didn't getting the wallet was straightforward. It was easy. I think we talked about this when it actually the day it launched. I think we were live, and I picked up a handful, man. I picked up 6 or 7, and I think that when you talk about adoption, that's the way you're going to see adoption, right? It's got to be as easy as possible. It needs to be living in the tech that you already have. It needs to be integrated with the things that you're already used to interacting with, right? So for Reddit, the way that they integrated the avatars and the NFTs, I think makes perfect sense for their business, right? Something that I think is a really big problem in the space is how these brands come in and they all do kind of the same thing, right? I was really kind of sad today when I went back and I looked up Lacoste, and I was like, oh yeah, Lacoste is doing this underwater thing, and there was a bunch of hype around it, and then essentially it's just it's a PFP project, man. Why is Lacoste doing a PFP project, right? And if you're saying, oh, it's a membership and it's going to be opening up all these things, then why is it a PFP of this ugly crocodile that nobody cares about, right? People, that's not cool. It's not engaging. It's not interesting. It doesn't, that's their logo or whatever. But this is a perfect example of a business that said, okay, there's this new tech and it's blockchain and how does it make sense for what we're doing and make sense for the people who use our platform, right? And they didn't come out with a PFP project. I mean, essentially, kind of, I guess they did, but what they did was they came out with this really cool, engaging, experience where they partnered with 100 different artists. All of those artists had, I think, anywhere between 2 and 4 tiers of the snoodles, I think is what they're called, which are the avatar, little plain avatars.
Snoo. Yeah, his name's Snoo.
And each of the artists kind of got to play with it. And what's really cool is that once you bought one, and they were 4 different tiers, it was you get $5, $20, $50, and $100 or something. But once you bought them, when you went into your Snoo builder, right? So you could build your Snoo. It's not like you wore one of them as a single skin. All of them were parts, right? So I could use my, head Snoo, my head from one Snoo and give it, the arms and legs from a different Snoo that I bought from a different artist and create this really unique piece of art that is essentially an NFT. So yeah, to me, this is awesome news. I love it. I think that the way they integrated it makes the most sense. And it's another use case where I would love for more people to look at it and say, okay, this is how you're supposed to integrate Web3. It's at your very base. This isn't a side thing. This is integrated straight into Reddit. It's in their dashboard. You go through it through your profile. The Snoo that you create then becomes your PFP picture. So when you're posting, your Snoo that you've now created, your NFT essentially, right, is now being displayed next to all your comments. And then, so
Yo,
cool.
and to add on to this point, just really quick, they called it the Reddit Vault. They didn't say Reddit Polygon partnership. They didn't say to an end user, this just means Reddit Vault, and then maybe they can find their way to blockchain. Go ahead, Gif.
Well, and they didn't call them NFTs either, right? Because they knew that wouldn't be received well. But I echo what Ronan said, and also, I'll repeat what I've said. I pointed out when this first was launching that this had potential to be one of the biggest stories of the year. And, to me, it is proving out to be one of the biggest successes of the year so far. And it's not just because, to Ronan's point, you have an excellent new case study for how an existing brand service community can, really effectively integrate NFTs and blockchain tech into what they're already doing well to just add value to their community. But it's because of what the Reddit community represents. The Reddit community is one of the most influential online communities in the world when it comes to internet culture, meme culture, creating news, breaking news, creating what's important or, what's hot. The Reddit community is so important to everything that happens on the internet. And so the fact that they have sort of Trojan horsed in NFTs through this cool collectible, this cool activation that basically, added value to their regular users. The people that had karma, the people that were operating or, engaging regularly in their space were basically, got this additional utility. And now 3 million of their users have created crypto wallets. To me, that is absolutely massive. That's amazing.
And I'll add that this is also a really good use case when it comes to damn, I'm gonna have our marketing guys put together a freaking what you would call it a use case around this. But you want to talk about how NFTs and collectibles build value, right? We talk about this a lot. This is a hurdle that NFT projects get into, right? It's everybody automatically assumes that an NFT is something you buy that is going to be more valuable later, right? It's unfortunate, but it's kind of where we're at. But when we talk about collectibles, when we talk about the right way of building value, Reddit did it the right way, right? They came out with a bunch of this stuff. Okay. Now, one thing we didn't talk about is the fact that this launched months and months ago. However, they just sold out of the first batch of these snooze, I think within the last week. Okay. So it took time. It was slow going. The artists, again, there was 100 artists or something, I'm sure we're pushing their stuff consistently. Now that it's sold out, we're a week in and people are now reporting massive sales of these Reddit avatars. I saw, on that thread, there's a screenshot where one guy was like, I just sold one of these things for a couple grand. Right. So now you look at it and you see that only 3 million of these, let's just say there's 3 million, right? And there's 3 million of them. What does it say their active user base? It's insane, right? It's millions and millions. 3 million of them have these rare snooze, and the other 50 million want them. That is how you build value. They didn't force it. They're not promising anything. There's no roadmap. They just released this thing that's kind of cool that only some people know about. They got in, they had plenty of time, and now that it's sold out and it's beyond reach, other people want it, right? So
a couple of things here. That one, I need the details on how many snooze actually got launched of these NFTs, because shout out to those people who
it's 40,000.
Okay, so that's a large supply. That's a large supply. But the fact that people are ending up selling these for a ton, definitely congratulations on that. The second piece here is 3 million people are interacting. I mean, look at this headline too. While I kind of make this point, is Reddit now has more NFT wallets than the OpenSea marketplace.
What?
That is
nice.
That is a great place to have a launch pad. That is all the things we're talking about with Coinbase, where they're launching different NFT projects because they're onboarding users. Guess who now has a launch pad that NFT projects can be on?
Well,
for every subreddit that ever existed, right?
And there's a subreddit for everything.
Exactly. Every single hobby, every single passion that you might have. And again, it's a way of onboarding people, but again, thoughtfully, deliberately, and without shilling, I mean, just knowing your customers and like respecting them, right? You'll win all the time.
And yeah, and specifically for like big scalable brand activations, since they're all on Polygon, like they all specifically are tapped into Polygon already, and we already know that's where a lot of the big brand, integrations and activations are going to be. If you're a brand doing something, interesting, trying to create some kind of activation, Reddit now becomes one of the best places you could go.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're running on Polygon makes it easy for them to do collaborations and to do integrations. Right now, like you take your, I don't know, super plastic NFT that's in your wallet, you connect to your Reddit, like, and now you unlock a special like super plastic snoo, right? Like that's the next step.
Ronan, do you know if it launched like with using the Polygon like Edge network, like the way Dogecoin did so, like Dogechain did? Because that's really interesting. Like, it's not even just like Polygon in and of itself, but that like the idea that you can run your own chain, like just for this one thing, like that's humongous, right? Especially if you like scale it out into all these other subreddits. I mean, it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure like how they rolled it out. It's a good question.
Hold on, GIF. No, close it, GIF. Listen, no, I put giveaway real quick. GIF, before we show the password, I would love to get 40 people in here. We have 27, almost 30 people. Let's get it up and see if we can get to 40 people. That means retweet, that means share, that means do whatever the fuck you need to do to get us to 40 people here on YouTube. I know a lot of people are watching on Twitter and Twitch as well, but let's do that before we share the password. Are you good with that, GIF?
I'm good with whatever you want to do, Q. I'll hold tight to it. I'll hold tight to this password over here. Keep it secret.
All right, who wants to fight me here for the kind of like subscribe comment? Because I don't want to do it. I want to see one of y'all three do it. One of y'all do it.
The call to action?
Yeah.
Oh man, everybody should know. Like, if you guys are hanging out, you're watching, you're enjoying the content. We do this every week, Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern ish. After the Twitter space, if you guys don't follow, make sure you're following on Twitter as well, where they do 2 hours on Twitter Spaces at 11 a.m. Eastern till 1 p.m. when we go live here, and have a chat about whatever's going on in the space, whatever you guys are interested in, whatever we're kind of interested in chatting about. If you enjoy that content, please make sure that you guys are hitting the like button, because that helps so effing much. Like Hugh said, it goes really, really far, and it takes you not even a quarter of a millisecond to click the button, the like button. That's all we're asking. But if you really love us, then hitting subscribe goes a little bit further. And again, it just makes sure that you're up to date with what's going on every time we go live, and all the content we're putting out. So we appreciate it.
And there's a lot
coming, dude.
There's a lot coming here on this network, on this channel, on YouTube. We've got a lot in the works, so you don't want to miss it. Subscribe, be part of this tribe. The Alpha tribe.
UGP is saying, hell no, less chances to win when we have 20 plus people that are added to the stream. So I don't know. We might track back a bit. We'll see.
The incentives are misaligned, I think, here. Right?
That is fair. Incentives are. I love a good segue, like good old DJ Savage. But the incentives are being aligned there on Cardano. So big discussion happened on Cardano this morning on the GM Web3 Morning Show. There were a lot of good links thrown around. We will bring a lot up on the screen as well. I don't believe there's like a drop link functionality here. So if you're in our Discord, you can drop the links there. I'll look into trying to do that on YouTube. But if you guys have links as far as Cardano's is concerned, I'll pull them up on screen. Otherwise, we will get started here with our Cardano NFT overview. GIF, I'll let you start here because you hosted the room there. What was your biggest takeaway from hosting that room and what you learned about Cardano NFTs?
I think it's cool whenever you like. This is one of the most awesome things about Twitter Spaces and the NFT space in general is that, we throw up these rooms with a topic. And a lot of times it's something that we don't know much about. We're going in there to discuss it, to try and learn. And people will just come out of the woodwork to talk about these things that they love, that they're passionate and educate. And so it was great. I guess I would say a little bit surprised with the amount of, Cardano NFT, fans that showed up to talk about Cardano NFTs and to help educate and onboard us this morning. So that was really awesome. You know, again, Virtua is there in the chat with us right now. That was an example of one of the people, new friends that showed up to help educate and talk to us about it. So that's always a pleasant surprise when you do get, you know, experts, experienced people just showing up randomly to talk about these topics that they love. You know, I think I was a little bit surprised to learn about how many different, you know, established NFT projects there already are. You know, just a few that we were talking about: Milk, Goat Tribe, Clay Nation, the Ape Society, Boss Cat Alien Club, Mutant Crocs, Space Buds, Ghost Chain. Dead Pixels. These are all projects that, like, you know, I think I may have heard of like Dead Pixels before. I may have even heard of Clay Nation once or twice, but like, to be honest, I really didn't know anything about these projects, and now I'm interested. Now I'm learning. I'm you know, diving down this Cardano rabbit hole. And, you know, there's always a lot to learn whenever you're learning about a new chain, because, you know, I haven't even set up a wallet yet. So we got to find out what are the best wallets. You know, some of the ones that people have been recommending so far are Flint Wallet, Nami Wallet. Those are two that have been kind of like getting the most mention so far that I'm looking at. And then another thing that I guess was cool to learn about is that they already do have their own handle registration. AdaHandle.com. I think you have that link too.
Yep.
But that one's different than like a .eth or a .tez or a .sol. It's actually like a $sign and then your handle. So, you know, now I'm looking at getting an Ada handle as well. So yeah, I don't know. These are all the things that we're just learning. These are, you know, the types of things that we like to do on GM Web3 and then recap here on NFT Live is, you know, sometimes because we are agnostic, because we're here to just talk about the most relevant, the most interesting, the most important headlines and information, whatever's popping off. Sometimes we're diving down new rabbit holes and trying to learn it together. So yeah, this is something that I think we're definitely going to be doing follow-up conversations on GM Web3 to learn more about, because it does seem like there's activity not just happening, but picking up. It seems like there's more activity and more interest starting to pick up on Cardano. So I think it's something that I'm going to be investigating and probably getting into.
Biggie, you pulled up Blur here. Did you have something there as far as Cardano is concerned?
No, that was just something else that we could talk about. It's a DEX aggregator sniping tool that's been in beta for a while, really fast. I think it's like one of the fastest right now, developed by some of like the biggest people in the space. You got Cosmo de Medici, a whole bunch of names. And they're going to be doing airdrops. It's live now, so you can like sign up, and if you want to be part of like the first or second airdrop, all you have to do is like list an NFT. You can list it super high, so if you don't want to lose it, then buy it. But it's a good little piece of alpha that you guys might want to check out. I think it's worth it. The tool is awesome. I've used it.
All right, I'm going to pull up a bunch of different projects here that GIF was mentioning within the Cardano ecosystem, and we will go ahead and get that.
And so on that note, a couple marketplaces that were mentioned, Genesis House.io, but then it seems like JPEG.store, JPG.store is kind of the biggest for NFT collectibles for, PFPs. So that's where most of the projects that I've been looking at so far are on. The one other thing that I think you should pull up real quick, Q, is that OpenCNFT website, because that's like a data aggregator and like a ranking website for projects. Yeah, this one right here. So it's not OpenSea like, the big NFT marketplace. This is another thing that we learned. CNFT is an acronym for Cardano NFT. So it's the only blockchain that I know of that has a separate acronym for its NFTs. Like, I don't know of SNFT for Sol or TNFT for Tez. So Cardano NFT has their own nomenclature for NFTs. They call them CNFTs. And so this Open CNFT website is a good place to aggregate a lot of the collection data and see what's trending.
So I'm going to keep pulling this up. We do have some homies in the chat as well. Nick Swervis, Young Content. Good to see the tribe in the house, man. Good to see y'all. I don't just see four nerds. I see four icons in Web3. We appreciate that. Virtua has a great comment. JPEG .store, I believe, is doing 95% of the volume currently within the Cardano NFT ecosystem. Still small, right? Like that's obviously some of the reason why the ETH and the other communities haven't heard about what's happening on Cardano. So it's still a smaller ecosystem, but that's why we, host these shows and want to give a little bit of highlight on that ecosystem.
Seems like it's seems like it's gaining market share from Solana. Some of the headlines are all talking about Solana traders jumping ship and heading to Cardano. Sorry, Biggie.
Do the Solana
I'll tell you what, like the JPEG.store, that's a hell of a domain name, right? But it's interesting because I got introduced to Cardano by a real life friend who actually got into NFTs. I don't know, about 8 months ago. And so I'm not really deep in it, but I do follow some people. And I actually, to your point of the CNFT, that was like a big thread, I think like last week, that somebody basically was like, should we be calling them CNFTs? Should we continue to like segregate ourselves, or should we like taking that C off and just calling them NFTs like everybody else, right? Like, but I will say that Cardano is a very interesting like blockchain. And I think that like, there's enough room for all of them, right? Like their use cases, kind of spread the gamut. So like, I think that, when you're talking about which one ends up stealing more market share or whatever, like I think the ones that outlast are the ones that like obviously prove their worth and then also like have the biggest names and the biggest projects attached to them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the whole Solana Cardano thing. Cause I get the two mixed up sometimes, to be honest.
Oh, I appreciate. I feel like I have to stand for Solana here. I think they're moving a little bit more into gaming, although they do have their PFP ecosystem. But it doesn't seem like Cardano is attacking that gaming narrative.
How did you become the ultimate Solana simp, Q?
It was right after you decided you were going to like stand for Gary Vee. So I was like, I need to stand for something. So I looked around the space.
That's good. We should all have our causes. You know what I mean? We should all have a cause that we care about.
I do want to take 2 seconds to shout out Crypto Slam. Did you guys see that?
Did that just happen?
I assume that just happened. I don't know if anybody's got like if whoever shared that news could drop they can't drop links. But man, that'd be really cool if we could find some information. It says Animoca Brands bought Crypto Slam. Crypto Slam, I distinctly, to EOS Watchdogs point, I distinctly remember like having really like great conversations with the Crypto Slam team early on, right after GPK OS 1. And man, those guys have been grinding for a long time. I mean, we even at one point we're working on like a partnership between Lad City and them. So huge congrats, man. That's a great example of a team that put their heads down and saw like a vision and a need, right? Like in this like space, and they created it and they cashed the fuck out. That's awesome.
Literally nothing is coming up on Twitter as we search Animoca and Crypto Slam. So I don't know if we're getting some like really heady alpha here or we're getting trolled. But no. I don't think we're getting trolled. Innocent until proven guilty. Maybe we're just getting some hot alpha. Young Content saying, I know this is a Cardano NFT episode, but I need some love to Polkadot NFTs. Not going to lie.
We're not there yet, bud. We're not there yet. We'll get there.
Listen, like this is the problem with doing these type of episodes. It's like, well, have you heard about XYZ? Like, have you heard about Lollipop blockchain that we're doing NFTs? Like, I don't mean to say that right after Polkadot, but there's EOS being thrown around the chat too. Like that is close to my heart. I was like a Genesis EOS ICO buyer. So it's sad to see what happened to EOS, but apparently they're coming back. So
I remember when I got into the space, you were talking about EOS. That was like one of those things early on. I remember it was like Voice. You telling me all about voice.com, which has made another fucking
Voice.
Have you seen that now? Now they're like something totally different, dude.
I'm sure they are.
I feel like they still owe me money.
Here's the thing, because Wax was brought up here in chat as well. Wax is a fork of EOS. EOS did themselves a disservice by holding fast to that decentralized mantra, the ethos that we go by, which is open source, right? So EOS in their community got no benefit for Wax forking the code and saying we're building our own thing. There could have been some like type of EOS token like tie in there with the Wax ecosystem. Literally, they got no benefit. Like Wax became what EOS could have been, and it's tough. But I'm off the soapbox now, fellas.
All for being an action.
Yeah. How many are in the chat, Q? Or should we give the code away, or are we still holding tight? Are we keeping it close to the
They got us
chest?
pretty close to 30.
Yeah, we're at 30 now, so we can drop it. Go ahead. You wanna let everybody know? These people are waiting for your code, GIF.
Oh, they want the code. Give them the code. Do it.
I need a soundboard here. Sheesh.
You see, uppercase,
young content. Sheesh.
Hex spawn.
sensitive.
We'll show it one more time. We'll show it one more time later in the episode if you didn't catch it.
All right. Okay. Easy says, I got the code. I'm here late. Virtuous saying Cardano has moved 13 million ADA in secondary market sales over the last 7 days. They have volume for sure. So it feels like, listen, Cardano, and it's to some extent, it still has this narrative of being like a ghost chain, but it feels like it is coming to life a little bit. But a lot of people have given it shit over the years since, going back to its foundation, right? And
we were giving it shit just 2 days ago. That's what I'm saying. Like, we were definitely fudding it a little bit, saying that it seems like a ghost chain. It seems like nothing's happening over there. But apparently things have been happening. It just seems like all of a sudden a bunch of Sol NFT traders realized that Solana is not the way and heading for greener pastures. That's what I think just happened. I think Cardano getting these headlines is because Solana is not doing well. That's my take.
It's all that mercenary
great
capital.
Somebody in the chat said that to talk about volume and stuff. I mean, it's like I don't really see anybody ever talking about Wax, but somebody in chat, and this is a big claim. I'd like to see some proof to back it up. But that Wax, what did they say? Wax had the most volume or something.
I don't believe it. The most.
Did you see it earlier?
What?
I can try to pull it up.
It's in chat. It's 100% in chat. They were like Wax is the most used chain with the most NFTs.
Oh,
I'd like to know what the metric for that. What does most used mean?
That sounds like some shady DAP Radar reporting right there.
Man, we have an ongoing rivalry with DAP Radar now.
Show yourself.
I think.
Come on the show.
Says he's joining Discord now. I want to see links, brother.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. If you want to follow Watchdog into our Discord, you can join that via the description right down there. It's literally it takes a second. Just click the link, hop into the Discord, click on a link, and you're in Discord and within our community. So appreciate it. Young Consent says, I brought crypto kitties on Cardano last year during the BAYC mint. I had my priorities mixed up. Crypto nitties. Instead
At first
of
I saw
BAYC.
something else. So that was better than what I thought.
You bought crypto nitties. Hey, I'm in. RIP in chat for Young Content. But
over apes.
So Nick's point. So Rare has done insane volume in the last 7 days. It's out of control. So that should be real. That, I mean, we don't ever talk about So Rare. Does everyone get into
this
So Rare?
is wait. This is the top NBA Top Shot, but for soccer. Or is this?
It's not Top Shot. It's more like you own players. It's more like a fantasy thing.
Football. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like fantasy football. Real football.
Yo, I was just talking about this yesterday with I was at a lunch meeting and I was talking about how I think sports NFTs is going to be absolutely insane.
It is.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, and we saw a glimpse of that with NBA Top Shot. NBA Top Shot was one of the first NFT collection platforms that really kind of took off and had a giant moment. But we're still early, and now you're starting to see again. Budweiser FIFA World Cup. Sergio Aguero is doing his own sandbox activations. You've got the like NBA Top Shot of soccer happening, this so rare fantasy. Like, I just think that, first of all, every single big sports tournament is going to have some kind of creative NFT activation. I think every single league is going to have some kind of utility, collectibles. And then every single big sports franchise or team, I think, is also going to have their own utility, rewards, loyalty tokens.
Yeah.
And that's not even really just focusing on the general sort of collectible stuff like the fantasy sports and all that.
A lot to break down there, Gift, but the creator protection there as well for the athlete, right? Like we've been talking about creators and how they've been taken advantage of for a while. Athletes are in that category as well. I mean, they make a ton more money than your standard creator, obviously, but they still in this scenario could get taken advantage of. And athletes like Des Bryant and a couple Players Lounge is another good example. Ronan has been involved with them for a while. They're like creating platforms so that players can actually benefit off of their own selves as athletes.
Yeah, and also the NCAA. Sorry, Ronan, real quick. The NCAA apparently recently clarified that their players can benefit through NFTs. So the NCAA basically saying, hey, you can make money as a college athlete using your name, and is it NIL, name, image, likeness? Yeah, your NIL, name, image, likeness, is you can use it however you want for NFT purposes as an NCAA athlete. And that's actually a really big deal because historically, this has been a big issue over, the last 10, 20 years, which is that, college athletes basically, a lot of people feel like they're just being totally taken advantage of because there's so much money being made off of them. And yet they are not allowed to profit. And so the fact that they can now use NFTs to do that is a really big deal. Sorry, go ahead, Rona.
That's the best, that's such a good use case. But to your point, when you were breaking down, how all these different entities are going to have their, their NFTs, I take that, to where Q was going, which is take it another rung lower, which is all the big athletes, right? They're all going to have their own, right? Like to me, 5 years from now, right? The next LeBron James, right? When he launches his NFT, project while he's in college and he's able to
in high school, bro. Exactly. I don't think he went to college. When
he's able to now make money on his name, image, and likeness, right? What's going to happen is, this is where I'm ready for, okay? Is that they're going to launch their own NFT project, right? It's going to be the fucking LBJ Club. And then they're going to sit down with Nike when Nike's like, yo, we want you to sign this $1 million contract. And they'll be like, that's cool. But I want you to make sure that the LBG club members always get 10% off any of my kicks. Right. When I make my, Bryce Young goes and makes his Adidas contract. I want anything that has the Bryce Young name tag to get a discount. I want anyone who's in my NFT club, right? This is the next step of fandom. This is the next step of incentivizing and empowering the people who give a shit about you most. And the athlete that figures that shit out when he's young enough, right? I'm having some conversations that I'm trying to get these kids to understand, and I'm not quite thinking I've gotten one to get it yet.
Ronan is scouting.
Well, I deal with college athletes, right? Through one of the projects I work with. So
yeah.
Well, it's
I try to get them to see that, because they can leverage that shit.
We've already been doing this by and large with artists in the NFT space a lot. And we talk about, how music NFTs and NFTs can be used to kind of support and empower artists, with that one-to-one connection of early fans and supporters and provide value. But we haven't really talked much about athletes. And I think that's what's interesting to me is I hadn't thought about, how do NFTs impact this idea of discovering and supporting athletes early on in their journey, right? What does that relationship look like? What kind of value can be created long term by supporting the next Michael Jordan, when they're coming out of high school or something like that. That's a really interesting idea. And also to back to the point of the amount of money that is going to be in sports NFTs, people spend so much money on sports, and there's so much money generated by those athletes.
Sports memorabilia and collectibles
and
is
gambling,
a multi-billion-dollar business a year. You know what I mean? So when you consider like that, it's huge. And then like it's mobile. We talked about this with like social tokens, right? Like it's mobilizing your collectors, your fan base, right? Like when you can say there's 50,000 LeBron James fans who each have a wallet, you know, each have an NFT in their wallet. What does that mean? Like the power that you have, right? Like for all types of shit, marketing, for collaborations, for partnerships, for opening up, you know, you literally can sit down and say, I've got this following, and if you sign me, they're going to come. And when they come, I want them to be taken care of. Right. So like it creates this economy where everybody wins. I think that this is like that next stage of, people are always talking about like, what is the real use case of this shit? That's the real use case, right? Like you buy an NFT from a college kid now, people, you don't see the real use case. You don't see the real purpose, because it all comes with time, right?
Yeah.
Like time is the main proponent of what we're doing here. Like the longer time goes on, the easier it gets.
And also, Ronan, to that point, like there's a lot of these companies like Lacoste that you mentioned that are, let's just say like antiquated, right? Like they've been on this modus operandi for the longest time of just being extractive, right? That when you tell them that this time around they have to share with their customers, they have to empower them, they can't see the value that comes behind that, right? Like they're just used to selling their threads at markup prices and, you know, manufacturing them somewhere else where it's cheapest. They really don't understand what Reddit gets, right? That by empowering your most passionate community, they are going to create so much value, just user-generated content on social media, like everything that comes with it, just by giving a piece, right, back to the community. And so the companies that understand this, that embrace this, that are able to communicate it and like actually make a product that's just not extractive, like you said, like, oh, another PFP project of a stupid fucking crocodile. Like, no, yeah, seriously, man.
Well,
like you're gonna win.
The use cases are
like, I don't know how often you have to make this pitch, Ronan, because I know you're in this space, but do you see their eyes glaze over when you start telling them like you're gonna have to give up something, you're gonna have to take care of them? Like they just don't get it, right? Like the majority don't.
Yes and no, right? So like what the cool thing is that the conversation is definitely being taken over more and more by people who do get it and who do understand, right? Like I'll say that one of we haven't gotten the ink on the paper, but there's a client that I've been working on signing for almost a year now, and it's a huge global company like that's got a presence everywhere. And it's been one of these things where their contact has always been kind of like a Web2 person who is trying to understand Web3. And now they've actually hired somebody who gets it, right? Like this guy gets it. Like when I got on our conversation, honestly, he was the type of dude that he could sit down on this panel and get along with the four of us and shoot the shit with us and talk about NFTs with the best of us. So the conversation is big. Companies are starting to hire the people who understand, so they can come to market with a product that makes sense, right? Like Starbucks doing what Starbucks did, right? Like they obviously took time to understand Web3 and how it needed to integrate with their brand at a major level. They didn't drop fucking 10,000 Starbucks cups. They, you know, they're taking their time. They're gonna integrate it in their app. So
honestly, that wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, if you got a bunch of artists like the Snooze,
there's ways of doing it, right?
Cool.
And look, you could do it, and you could do it where, like you said, you work with a bunch of different artists. There's maybe a bunch of different traits, and then what you do is then you let them go and burn the NFT to get a physical, right? Like you, as a major brand, you've got the wiggle room to do a lot of cool stuff, right? But like, why do it as a 10,000 PFP project where you charge people a bunch of money when you could do the same exact thing but make it part of your rewards program, which is what I think they'll do. Right. Like now, if you hit a specific point, now you get one of these cups dropped in your wallet because you've bought 20 Starbucks in the last 20 days or something. Right.
This gets to the heart of these like failed drops, I feel like, where they tried to reach both audiences and therefore you missed both. You know, like you weren't native enough for the Web3 people, so they didn't buy your shit because they thought it was corny. And you also added NFTs to your shit. So your existing user base was like, fuck you. We're not doing this.
You.
Yeah. It's like, just pick one, which I think we've seen that the pool of users in Web3 that are going to buy your stuff is not big enough yet. So you literally cannot say, oh, I'm going to go the Web3 route unless you really are looking to grind and spend some time, spend some time. So the one thing I think is interesting about the sports piece too is that there's a lot more tie-ins, I feel like, to financialization as opposed to art. I mean, I know obviously art is bought, sold, traded. Maybe I'm just being biased here, but I do think that with gambling and with fantasy sports and with all these things, people are already used, in collectibles that you guys mentioned, people are already used to buying, selling, trading. And like those things don't feel like they're almost an infringement or like some, they're already used to being financialized is kind of the argument I'm going with. So, yeah, dude, great fucking topics. Anybody got any last thoughts here on sports NFTs?
I do want to say one last thing. It's not necessarily specifically sports NFTs, but it's on that topic, which is to Asmodee, which is, what kind of value do NFTs provide to other important communities like scientists, programmers, educators? I think it's all like relative to like exactly like what they're doing, right? Like scientists, if you've got a group of scientists and they're out there, let's just use, I love talking about UFOs, right? So UAPs, right? Like, let's talk about that, right? Like if they go out there and they launch a product and this, NFT project, let's say it's 20,000 whatever UFOs, and there's 20,000 people who collect, and you got, let's say, I don't know, 8,500 people, all unique holders. Now you can go and tell people that you have 8,500 people who are uniquely interested in your topic. That gives you leverage and it gives you power. And these are people that you can reach at any time. For any reason that you want, because you hold the key to those wallets, right? So I think that's where people need to see like the power is saying like, we have a community and we would love to leverage our community in a way that makes sense for us. And I'm sure that's just one thing that hits me like when I'm talking about it. I'm sure the guys here can all give you really cool ideas of how all of those communities could come up with something. But I do think the tech allows for it. You just have to get creative.
So in academia, there's a lot of different valuable resources, different educational resources, research resources, academic resources. So access tokens to those that like could be an aggregator or, collectively, provide access across a range of the top academic resources. Or, all the schools could, certain schools could come together to put resources together and then token gate them. I think also the books, and NFTs, adding books, digital components to college books is an interesting idea. Those are just a couple ideas.
Yeah, there are a lot of great comments in the chat, but we do have to move on. I think this turned into sports NFT discussion. We were originally talking about Cardano NFTs. We will continue to have that discussion in the Discord and on Twitter and these things. I think Cardano will be better.
Okay, here's a quick idea that just hit me. Soulbound tokens for the college that you went to. So people are fanatics about the colleges that they went to, their alma mater. Soulbound tokens that show the college that you went to and then provide you certain graduate access points or perks or utilities.
More like getting into the NFTs as receipts, almost like your degree will become an NFT.
I don't know. That's $1 billion idea right there. If you can create a platform for all your soulbound tokens that create certain experiences and utilities.
Gotcha. All right. A couple housekeeping things to get to. Zoo NFT is asking, where's the Twitch link at? Drop that in the description. This is the first time we're live on Twitch, so we need to get in there, and it will be in there in the future.
What's up, Twitch? Yo, what's up, Twitch? How's it going? How you doing?
Hi, YouTube is old around here. What up, Twitch?
We also have a password. Easy is like hitting my DMs. He's sending me snail mail. He's commenting in the chat, asking how he uses the password that you threw up on the screen. GIF. He doesn't have any idea.
Check out the tweet. Send him the tweet. You got the tweet on screen. All right, we're gonna show it one more time.
Make sure you get the spelling right too.
You got to follow the instructions on the giveaway tweet. That's how it's done.
All right, giveaway tweet has been launched, and we do have to get to the remainder of the topics. We're probably going to miss a couple, honestly, at this point. I think we have like 10, 15 minutes left. Any last thoughts on Cardano NFTs before we move on, fellas? Nothing. Okay. All right, we will move on to our next topic. Biggie, do you feel like you want to hit the optimism piece, or do you want to move on to the home buy NFTs? You let me know.
Whichever you prefer. I think sure. It's a quick one for the Optimism bridge right now with cross-chain interoperability, right? Like I thought it was an interesting development showing up, right? I'm not too sure how. I mean, I imagine like this is more aimed at the traders, right? Like high frequency trader people that are doing it often. Like I don't see any Bored Apes or punks being bridged over to Optimism, especially with all the cross-chain hacks happening right now. But I mean, you're seeing stuff start coming up where I'm very interested in the cross-chain interoperability of NFTs. Not so much here where it's like aimed at reducing fees, but more for the creative possibilities of what can occur, right? Like if you're talking about making derivatives or a particular art, like what, you can play around a lot with that. Like what happens when you bridge your Bored Ape into, flow or something like that. Does it mutate? Does it change? Right? Like it's really interesting to me. But we're starting to see it here with fees, and apparently, like a lot of people are taking over. So, Cardano hasn't siphoned all of the users from Solana just yet. Maybe they went to Optimism. Sorry, Q. I just had to. I had to.
Okay. All right. Well, great update there. I dropped that link in the chat as well. I want to address something real quick too, because we have a lot of Wax fans here in the chat. We've been talking about, like Biggie's talking about Optimism. We've been hitting Cardano. We're obviously blockchain agnostic, and we're actually huge supporters, or were early on, of Wax. Like me and Ronan were sitting here on this show, this named show, NFT Live, although the format has changed over the years. We were here on Wax sale days. We were here for the GPK sales on Wax. We were here for literally like all the early days of Wax. Now,
the William Shatner drop on Wax.
Still got my Shatner.
I remember that. Are you serious?
You don't know the William Shatner drop, and we were live.
Dude, the early GPK vibes were fucking awesome. That was so cool. I'm actually sad that Wax is where it is today, although it is one of the higher volumed chains for NFTs and stuff like that.
Yeah, number 1.
The issue there is that the bad actors, we've touched on data analytics already. If you have low fees, you can, transact a bunch of times and do meaningless transactions. It's not just, I feel like, a unique transaction each time from one unique user to another doing something, if that makes sense. So anyways, all right. I just wanted to address that. We will get to this story, and I want to get y'all's take on this, on whether you even think real estate NFTs are dope. We had STO, security token offerings, as like something that was going to be a thing, 2017-18 timeframe. STOs were next. We were going to have tokenized versions of stocks, tokenized versions of real estate. So now we're finally getting some NFTs as associated with houses that are being sold. So I definitely want to talk to this company, Roofstock, which is it looks like the platform that made this happen, that allowed for the integration to happen. But again, going off this tweet here from Punk 9059, according to NFT Go, the top NFT transaction of the past 24 hours is 149 Cottage Way, Columbia, South Carolina, an NFT representing ownership of a house that sold for $175,000. It even updated on Zillow. So I want to get y'all's takes here. Biggie, you brought this up as well in one of your topics, so maybe you go first here as we kind of look at it on both Zillow, on-chain and off-chain.
I think this is a beautiful thing to see. I've been waiting for this, and I think a lot of people have. I think, it's an obvious use case, and many people have been trying to tackle it successfully and unsuccessfully. It's not an easy task, especially when you're dealing with certain things that need to be registered, like at the governmental level, right? Like the deeds and stuff like that. So I think personally, I still think there's a very good argument for security tokens when it comes to real estate. And this is a perfect highlight for it, because as much as I liked it, I don't know if you saw it, Nifty, but like you can see like how many bedrooms, the square footage and everything on the details if you open it up on OpenSea. It's really
the metadata
on OpenSea.
Yeah. It's got traits. Yeah. It's got traits. It's got metadata on OpenSea, bro. It's fucking awesome.
But immediately, what some people started to highlight, or there are serious issues there. It's like one, the transparency might be a little bit too much for that homeowner's liking, right? Like, They know who owns it, where they live, all the stats of the house.
Isn't that
but
pretty
more than
much available for most homeowners though? Like Zillow has a lot of information already from, like, you can search up almost anybody's home and get tons of data.
True. But I think like with NFTs and the degens, I guess we're a little more security prone in that sense, and so some people are kind of like iffy about it. More importantly to me is the idea of like, what if your house gets hacked? I'm sorry, like what if the tokens or your wallet gets hacked, right? And somebody takes that NFT and shows up at your house and says, get the fuck out. It's like, what are you gonna do? Right.
This is the problem we were talking about yesterday with Azuki, right? This was the issue with Azuki, with tying digital to physical, or like we like to say on NFT Live, digiphysical goods, right? Adding digital and
Nobody
physical.
says that, Q. Stop trying to make digiphysical a thing, Q. It's not a thing, Q.
Somebody did ask like what happens if the wallet gets hacked and the NFT is stolen, and there was like responses for that. It seems like whoever set this whole thing up did think a lot about those situations and what they would need to do. Just like for each one of the ones that they sell via NFT, they set up a separate LLC for each single sale, like each home. So apparently like that has something to do with it as well. So yeah, they've got some use cases around it. I do think that, we're a long way off from this being the norm, but I do think it's a step forward, and it's also a really good use case for people who are curious where the technology lives in places outside of JPEGs and digital collectibles.
It would be interesting to see the people that are getting displaced by this transaction. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things, again, that need to happen off chain, but eventually the goal is probably to remove a lot of those middlemen and the fees that are associated. I wonder what they have to say when they clap back. I will open the OpenSea thing here as well. And shout out to the motherfucking Chad that is offering $168.33 on this house.
Hey,
You are a
bot.
Is it a bot?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's a move. That's a move. Also, shout out to the person who just paper handed Orenga for 1.3 ETH. I just got that in my wallet. So,
Ooh,
hey, shout out to
I got
Gift.
three Rengas now, Ronan. Coming
Let's
for your
go.
crown, bro. Coming
Nice.
for that throne.
Let's go. I got 3 regular, but I got 2 boxes. I got
I
got a crystal box too.
Boxes.
Yeah.
No, I'll just echo though what Ronan and Biggie were already saying. Like I've been, for those of us who have been preaching the virtues and the values, the gospel of NFTs now for the last couple of years, trying to convince our friends, family, acquaintances that this is the future. This is the thing. It's going to be everywhere. One of the things that I'm always like is like, oh yeah, of course, like your cars, your homes, all these things are going to live on the blockchain in the future. So to see it to, start to get proven out or tested out, for there to be, case studies and examples of how this is already starting to work is really cool. And so I'm excited to like show this, to my family over the holidays and be like, no, look, people are already putting their homes on the blockchain and buying and selling them with NFTs. It's happening. This is real. So
definitely a Thanksgiving conversation like highlight, right? That you'll be able to say like, look, something you do understand.
Yeah.
Here's
See, look,
I'm
not crazy, Mom. I'm not crazy. All right.
There's some like cool game theory you guys touched on there with like whether you lost the NFT and that like therefore you have to get the fuck out of your house. I think there's some cool businesses that could be developed around now custody of a liquid asset of a house. Right? Like there's going to be a company that probably, maybe a bank, something like that literally has to now store these NFT assets that represent the ownership of the house. That didn't exist before. That did not exist because it literally was just the house. Now there's a liquid asset that is being traded, although you financiers will probably figure out some terms that already exist. Yeah, exactly.
That already happens with NFT-Fi, right? Like people are already doing things like that.
Yeah,
right?
but okay, so we're thinking like 10 years down the line, maybe NFT-Fi is a little bit more usable or things like that, but most people are going to need like a Wells Fargo like company to actually, you know, do that. They're not going to jump on NFTFi to
We're
like
trying to
custody
be
their
bankless
house.
here. Why are we going to go to Wells Fargo
I'm
to
not.
fucking
Oh,
custody
God.
our house NFTs? That's
Okay.
literally, to me, defeating the point. The point is to disintermediate and get away from all those fucking like middlemen. And to your point, Q, like I think the question is like how much disintermediation is actually possible? Because like Biggie was saying, like at some point, like a lot of this has to go through certain processes, and you know, like the government or whoever has to be involved, unfortunately. So I think that's going to be what's really interesting, is seeing what level of disintermediation and decentralization and, you know, banklessness can we get to with our, you know, with real estate.
Yeah, that it's often like kind of boring to talk about because it feels like it's so far away. Like in my opinion, like that conversation is cool, but it often feels like you're grasping at straws because
But it's
literally
happening.
yeah, but not at scale, and it's one thing. It's one, meaning that maybe it'll be 10 next year, and maybe it'll be 20 the year after. But like you're gonna wait 10 years before any of this stuff is like at that scale. It's like talking about NFTs in 2005. Cool discussion. They were having the discussions.
I don't know, man. It could be like talking. It could be like talking about NFTs in 2020. You remember that,
bro?
You remember
Counterpoint.
2020? There's only
Counterpoint.
200 active wallets. It's going to be years before anybody gives a fuck about NFTs. And 60 days later, the whole world was like, "What the hell is an NFT?" And thousands and thousands of people were just.
I will change this fucking channel. I will change this channel to an NFT real estate channel if this shit blows up in the next 3 months.
Don't say that.
All it takes is that one really, really big like housing company, you know, sort of group sale or an office building. Like all it takes is that one Beeple, right? So Beeple was kind of the watershed moment where it was like, whoa, everybody in the world heard about this $69 million NFT sale. So all it takes now, like you've got these, like the trickle, you've got one or two, you know, a house for $175,000, no big deal. But all it takes is one really innovative futuristic thought leader who, you know, works at a big commercial real estate, you know, company or something like that to put one of their giant buildings onto the blockchain, and all of their apartments and high rises and condos and penthouses on the chain. And now you've got millions and millions of dollars just in one property, and that's your fucking Beeple. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
All it takes is that one really, really big fucking story to, I think, change the whole trajectory of the market.
We do have to let Ronan go here. The last thing I'll say there is like, and Biggie, back me up. In 2017, they were saying the same shit about STOs. They're like, one big sale, and they'll start transacting all this shit on chain, and we'll be buying, selling apartments in NYC. But
sometimes
I agree.
Sometimes it takes many, right? So like you never know what the catalyst is going to be. But I do think that like it's gotten us in trouble thinking it's going to be years and years and years down the line, and really like technology just moves so much faster. So the conversation's been great with you guys. I really appreciate it. I gotta jump for a meeting, but love all of y'all, our Vibe, our tribe. I'll catch you next week.
Take it easy, bro.
Later.
Think about the marketing value, the earned media potential to being that first really big real estate developer that gets that Beeple like headline. I mean, so it's like there's incentives to doing it beyond creating a new model that might even be more lucrative. Is like you get all that marketing value for your property as well.
Look as far as 149 Cottage Lane or Lake Way, right? Like we're talking about a random house in South Carolina.
And Ronan said it best, I think, right now before he left, is like in this particular case with real estate, I do think it's not like one case, it's many. Like you need to see several people be able to pull it off successfully, safely, efficiently, right? Because we have seen like this is not the first case of like real estate digitalization, right? Like we saw it like with the Aspen, it wasn't the Aspen Institute, but I think it was like one of the hotels, one of the Bain hotels in Aspen, which like launched an STO and like raised a bunch of funds to build a whole extension to it, which they're doing a buyback now, by the way. But I think these developments are happening, and like to your point, like sometimes, yeah, we disregard it. We think it's going to take a while, Q, and then before you know it, it happens, right? And I think one of the best ways to figure out what's coming up is looking at the hackathons, right? Like I think there was one recently showing, it was like great way to like find out what's coming down the pipe. It's like look at what like the hackathons are developing, which lately it's been a lot of social, right? I think I love seeing this stuff, like, and I want more of it, because that's the way you're going to eventually, like Giff was saying, somebody's going to find out that elegant solution, that clear-cut thing where you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 properties list sell, and then you'll get the masses immediately, you know? But it needs to be tried and true.
Love it. Love it. Love the comments. Love the comments in chat as well. Gift Dad Biggie Poppins here, my wonderful co-host. Definitely give them a follow. The Twitter links are in the description as well, along with everything else except the Twitch link, unfortunately, which I just will drop in chat. All right. We have to get out of here within the next 5 minutes. This has been a longer episode, but they keep going long for whatever reason. I just want a little bit of comments here of overview on the Rate My Bag segment here. Do we need to, does anything really stand out? I say, like, let's end the episode, and then I bring up the most contentious part of this.
No, so real talk, Q, here's what I think we should do. I think Rate My Bags should be its own separate segment / show. I think we should do like once a week or once every other week, just as its own like 30-minute, 45-minute episode, because you know we can dig in and have fun with this. And I just feel like, you know, we're trying to peg it on the end here, and it's like we can. Like, let's pull it up. I'm not saying let's not talk about it now. Let's talk about it briefly now. But I'm just saying, Rate My Bags is becoming such a big deal. It is so scientifically accurate, so popular that, like, I just think it deserves its own thing.
I will double down on that and say let's not look at it at all, because I do think that those comments can like lead to, you know, more discussion on that. If it's going to be a full episode, let's leave most of the discussion there.
I just know we got to throw Ranga on the board, and that's probably not on there. So
no, it's not. It's not. I think maybe Artifact needs to be moved around. Could be in that S tier. Clone X has to be in the S tier now. We move everything down and leave Clone X up.
It won the battle of the blue chips on GM Web 3. I mean,
it's fair.
If nothing else, like, that's got to qualify you to be S tier on Rate My Bags, I feel.
It's also scientific here on the Web3 network. Prodigy's in the house. Easy. Don R. If I go down the list, it's going to take me a whole nother 10 minutes, but you guys have been fucking awesome. Nick Swervis, EOS Watchdogs. Thank you for the EOS content. We can talk wax. We can definitely talk wax on one of these upcoming episodes as well. Let's see. UGP, Creatress, Dickenza's asking if it was a rare house. That I don't know. Did you get extra?
It's one of the only ones that's on OpenSea. So
if it's on if it's haunted, is it?
It's definitely a Genesis, though, right? It's gonna be a Genesis.
I mean, that would be a super dope trait if you were like searching through real estate and like one of the metadata traits is haunted, and then you could just search all of the haunted houses, you know, and then, you know, which ones you want to try and.
This is the future of this show. This is NFT Live Real Estate edition. Well, we'll go over all of the haunted houses on OpenSea when OpenSea becomes a competitor to Zillow. Yeah, we're far down the rabbit hole now.
Oh, sorry, good nuts.
Awesome, man. All right. Any last thoughts? Listen, please leave a like, leave a sub if this is your first time. We're doing this pretty much fucking daily, so we'll be here tomorrow after the GM Web3 show. We don't say please here. We don't. We literally force you. Put your head down.
Culture. Do it for the culture. Like it. Give us a thumbs up. It means a lot. It really does. You know, it helps. And it doesn't cost you a thing.
No, it
takes 2 seconds. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it means great. The world. Yeah.
UGP is saying, is it in the hood? The hood might be like a discount. Maybe like a discount.
Where are we going with this?
No, like categories. If it's in the hood.
Dude, are you guys familiar with the guys from the Hustle? From the Hustle? Sandpar and what's his name? I forget. Sean Puri, I think. They've had an idea for ages, which is like to buy like Michael Jordan's old house, which has been up for sale, like apparently, like where he grew up in or something, and like turn it into like some kind of like museum, talking about sports memorabilia and real estate, dude. You could digitize that. I don't know. Somebody out there might be able to do it.
Providence.
Cool.
Biggie, you got anything for the chat here before we head out?
Man, no, maybe like we can leave it. Hopefully, man, I can join you guys tomorrow. But I am really interested in talking later about this cryo staking link that I sent you, which is basically the question is, would you stake your NFT for like, I think it's like fucking like 20 years or something like that, or 30? It's insane. But it's also pretty cool. We can leave that one for next time.
All right, cryo staking episode tomorrow. We'll be hitting it. But Biggie, we're not going to cover it if you don't show up.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure then.
All right, folks. I'm going to let Gifted head us out here. Thank you so much for tuning in to NFT Live today. I already told you to leave a like, so if you haven't yet, please
he did
do
it
so.
Again.
And there's one last look.
You're too nice, Gift. That I would be like once, and that's it.
That's it.
There you go.
We did it.
If you spell it backwards, then you get an extra point. But anyways, we have to get out of here. This was NFT Live. Thank you so much, our Vibe, our tribe. Gifted, send us out, and we will see you tomorrow.
Like, subscribe, do all the things. Join us on the Web3 network. We love you, our Vibe, our tribe.